Hi everyone, welcome to our live stream on behind the scenes at WOWCON. Obviously, I'm here instead of Melissa, who's supposed to be doing that. I think
Yeah,
she's picking up her parents at the airport or something like that.
yeah,
So,
she is. She is.
um, so I'm stepping in. Yeah, and obviously joined by Florian. Hi, Florian.
Hiya. Thank you for joining us, Stuart. Well, yeah, Melissa's not here, so we've got a non-fringe right mentor team member and our founder, which is going to be really interesting for some of the behind the scenes information. Especially Stuart has obviously he was one who started WOWCON, so he has been there from the very beginning, and he's been telling us a little bit after my little introduction about how he was the only person running an entire writing conference, which
And that's not. I wouldn't recommend that.
yeah, yeah, that's going to be the advice at the end of this: is don't run your own writing conference on your own. Maybe get a team together. But so what is WowCon? Like, if you haven't bought tickets yet, firstly, definitely get your hands on some tickets. The conference is the end of September, so it's the last weekend, and it is every single year just to help people out and us. So it's very convenient. It's online and it's for children's writers. But I think this year, actually, if you have a look at the program, which is on our website, and we'll link it at the end of the video in the comments. I think a lot of the program could be applied to adult writers, don't you think, Stuart? Like, I think if you write for adults, you
Yeah,
could.
absolutely. Yeah, I think we've literally got a panel which is about writing for children, which is primarily what we do. But also, if and a lot of people who are writing for kids at the moment are making that jump into adults. So we've got a panel there where we've got an agent and a couple of writers who talk about that transition. So even if you're not a kids writer, there's still something there for you, I think.
100%. And then we've got like workshops like the psychology of characters, which
Yeah.
again could apply to anything. We've got marketing and branding for authors. Little shout out to my workshop, which
Mhm.
again I will apply to anyone. So 100%, like, it is for children's writers in the sense that the authors and the industry professionals that are leading it mainly focus in the children's publishing industry. But please come along if you are writing for other age groups. We've got keynotes, we've got talks, we've got workshops, panels. We've got some amazing names, which you'll see on our program. And we've also got like a huge community of writers at different stages of their publishing journey that join us for the weekend, and kind of chat and socialize and network, which was really fun. And we also got our Saturday night party as well,
Yay.
which will probably have a quiz. I'm
Yeah,
guessing that's our favorite.
yeah. Some sort of quiz and some sort of socializing, but yeah, it's nice. It's one of my favorite parts. Is I think you're going to talk about this later on, but just like getting a chance to have a chat with other writers and bring everyone together in a wee space like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like, being online is really good. Because I think, Wowcom was actually set up pre-pandemic. Again, we'll discuss why this was also interesting to start an online writing conference so
Yeah.
many years ago. But and then obviously a lot of places are running stuff online, but I feel like Write Mentor's had a few years to perfect what it's like to run something online and to try and make it as kind of smooth and as like easy to access as possible. And we've really kind of spent many years thinking about it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I really like it. And obviously, we as a team are not based in London or Stuart's all the way up in Scotland. So we all collectively struggle to sort of access in-person conferences, expensive trains, expensive accommodation. So I think that was one of the motivations for you setting up Welcome, wasn't it? Was accessibility and
Yeah, I think so. And so it's back in 2019, and I can't remember which conference it was, but I remember there had been a conference, and it was like the fourth one that I'd seen that year that was in London, in central
Mhm.
London, and that's fine. Obviously, like if you make a weekend of it, and blah blah, blah and you can fit all that around it. But for a lot of people, disability is obviously a reason that you can't get to London if you're geographically located far away. Even just the geography defeats, even people who are able to travel and so on. The geography just defeats some people.
Yeah.
The cost as well. The conference itself can be a few £100s, and then when you throw 2 nights accommodation on that, two-way trains, you're talking six, seven, 800 quid.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
and,
a lot.
and that and that's before you think about like food and all the other things you have to consider for a weekend away. So anyway, the purpose of WowCon initially was to break down those barriers and make it more accessible for people to hear from all of the top people within the industry, to watch these panels, to be part of workshops, from the comfort of their own home, where the cost is the only cost is literally the ticket. You don't
Yeah.
have to pay for anything else, and I thought that was a big plus to it. We were chatting earlier on before we started live streaming about what I did in that first
Mhm.
WOWCON in 2019, and it was so low tech. Well, not low tech, but it was so differently organized
Yeah.
to how we do it now. I was doing it myself, so I was emailing like we still had about 40 or so people involved in the
Which is
WOWCON,
a lot.
but it's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I planned for that many, but I think I got carried away. Like as you do when you get excited about things.
Yeah,
and
it sounds familiar.
and the thing was, I'm sure I over invited, thinking a certain percentage would say no.
Mhm.
But so many people said yes that we ended up having this much bigger conference than I expected. But yeah, it was, I think that there's a core set of people who have attended not, every WOWCon, or 3 or 4 or 5 WOWCons. This is now our sixth coming up
Yeah.
this year. So it's quite incredible that it's had a sort of meaningful and lasting impact for so many writers who couldn't normally get to a in-person conference.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've expanded a lot, and I think there's been a lot of like changes in the structure. Like, now we've focused quite a lot on panels because I think they were super popular last year. So we sort of brought them in a bit more because it's quite interesting to hear sort of group of people with like different opinions and experiences discuss a topic. But I don't
Yeah.
think there were panels at the beginning, were there? I think that's
So
quite a
yeah,
recent
So,
concept.
so yeah, and I think initially the reason for that was just the logistics. I just doing it myself. I couldn't host sort of 8 panels in a weekend, and as well as all the other admin. So I just had it mostly individuals. So each of the sessions was just an individual, either doing a talk or a workshop or something similar. So yeah, we've introduced that over the years, and they have become popular because, as you say, you get a diversity of voices.
Yeah,
Um, from the myriad of experiences that people have in publishing. There's no journey that's the same.
yeah,
And so, it's useful to hear that. And, I think for people who come along to these conferences, the panels do add a great amount of value to not just, because learning craft's important, and that's what we have the workshops for.
yeah.
Hearing inspirational talks is also important. Hear that from the very best people in the industry that we have doing our talks this year. But yeah, the panels, they do bring a slightly different experience.
Yeah, and it's important also, I guess, to just talk about different industry issues and topics because we've got like inclusivity in publishing panel. We've got also teachers and librarians in publishing, which is
Yeah,
really
I'm excited about
interesting.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like a spotlight on a group of people that are so, so, so vital, but I guess maybe
Yes.
don't get a voice and get to talk about their role a lot. So I'm really excited about
Yes.
that panel.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that one was born a little bit from when we had Scott Evans on the hub.
we did,
Um,
yeah,
and he was
exactly.
chatting about the role of like the teacher and so on in children's publishing and so forth. And we were like that was such a success. Like, so many people loved that having this at WowCon is a great bonus. So not just to hear from him, who he's on the panel, but also everyone else who's a part of it as well.
100%. I guess that in terms of behind the scenes, that's also if people are interested in how we pick the topics for and the speakers and stuff for our conferences. A lot of
Yeah.
it is down to us as a team. If there's something that's happened on the hub, which is our community platform, we have kind of regular events on that monthly. Well, almost every single week. But yeah, and I think if something, if we get a speaker on or a topic that we want to expand or we find that's really interesting, we kind of pin that, don't we, and think, oh, that
Yeah.
could be good for WowCon. We also get suggestions from people. We look at your feedback every year. We put out a feedback form and we actually ask people, don't we, like, is there anything that you want next year? And then we also put out a sort of call out on socials for this year to see if there were anyone who wanted to run their own workshop and panels. And that's how we got the inclusivity in publishing one, I think, if I'm
It is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
And we had so many good ones actually
yeah,
from
we
from
had
the
loads.
selection, and it was really hard to not just say, oh, we'll have this and this and this and
Mhm.
this. Like, we had to be very disciplined about it. And it's like putting your hand in a cookie jar, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's so hard to be disciplined enough to just take one out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we did that, and but we were grateful, obviously, to everyone else who put themselves forward as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also all good thoughts for next year. Our spreadsheet was full of like green, green, green. We were like green lighting loads of them. Like it was so tricky to pick.
Yeah, and I think we actually took one of them who had said that for WOWCON, and we're going to get them on in the hub as well. So
Yeah.
like there's other opportunities where we can fit in those sessions as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you as participants will get to hopefully enjoy some of the ones that were suggested as well. But yeah, it's pretty tricky to pick. There's just so many good authors, so many good industry professionals, so many good topics.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
mean,
why WOWCON's fun because we've got lots of space to fill as well, in a way.
exactly, yeah. And I was just going to say that spreadsheet that we initially start with names on it, when
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to sort of put the program together, it's huge.
Yeah.
Like and it's one of those things you're like, I did not realize there's so many great people
Mm-hmm.
in the industry and publishing as as authors and professionals until you list them like that, and you're
Yeah.
like there's no way we can invite everyone who we'd like to invite.
Yeah.
And so and also you have to then tailor people to the the panels or workshops or talks that you want as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's like a plethora of people for like say a YA one,
Yeah.
and you just have to pick two, and that it can feel impossible, but yeah.
It is hard, and with four people in a team, like obviously Stuart was saying before we started the live stream, like one of the benefits, obviously it's very difficult to run something on your own. One of the benefits is you don't really have other conflicting opinions, you just make
Yeah.
that decision.
Yeah.
I guess as a team we all have our own, like publishing and reading, our own subjective tastes and
Yeah.
people we particularly like, or even in just a really kind of selfish way, like I would love to moderate a workshop with this author, please can we get them
Yeah.
on board, because it's also a great opportunity for us as a team to kind of meet some of these amazing names in publishing. So I feel like there's a lot of discussion and decisions behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
there is, yeah. And it's funny because yeah, as I say, like I used to just get my own way all the time, but now I don't.
You've got
But
someone else.
but that is always a positive.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
always a positive. Yeah.
yeah. True. I think it's like with everything, it's nice to kind of have a soundboard and a
Yeah.
discussion with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and behind the scenes, apart from that, once we've chosen the panels and the workshop, it's contacting people,
Yes.
um, which is another big task that Emily, our
Yeah.
events person, has done really well this year.
Yeah.
What else are you marketing?
Yeah, that's your role.
Yes, viral. So yeah, we try to get the word out as much as possible. And obviously we like WOWCON is open internationally as well. You don't have to be UK based. So we try as much as possible to think of ways that social media is good for that, to get the word out to people outside of the UK.
Yeah.
Because it is amazing. We record everything
Yeah.
that's then available after the conference. So, UK based people, you also, if you can't make the time, then you can catch up. But especially you can live in Australia with a huge time difference, and you can still enjoy the conference at your own pace. So yeah, the marketing is kind of also based on just trying to get as many people to find out, and as many people from different backgrounds and communities as possible, because again it's pretty accessible price relative to other conferences. It's
Yeah.
accessible and it's attendance. So yeah, we really try and get the word out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, and just to talk a little bit again about the planning there, one of the
Yeah.
things we were trying to focus on this year was just making sure that because we maybe have had a tendency to focus on sort of craft based and
Mm-hmm.
pre-agented based, panels, workshops, and so on. Whereas this year we were thinking more, how can we help those who maybe have an agent or those
Yeah.
who feel like their craft is at a competent level, and maybe they don't need as much for that. So we hope that the selection, the wide variety of things that we've got this year means that regardless of where you are in your writing journey, that we hopefully have something for you.
100%. Because we've got the navigating school visits, which is a really good one, I
Yes.
think, for sort of maybe, I mean, if you don't have an agent yet, it's really good to know what it's like to navigate school visits. They are probably an inevitable part of being an author, but obviously it's good for authors that have got agents who are published. We've obviously, I think the tricky second novel one should be really
Yes.
interesting. Because yeah, that's a brilliant one if you've published, if your debut's out and maybe that excitement of that is sort of waning a little bit, you're faced with the next book.
Yeah.
We've got 4 authors who are all going through that or have been through that, which is really interesting.
We've
And
got the agent panel, so
yeah,
you've got an agent. What comes next? Because again, we were talking about this earlier on, but there's a bit of a void of information about
yeah,
that stage where like everyone talks about getting their agent and all the things that have happened before then, and then when people are published, they talk about being published, and
yeah.
well, but there's a void of information between those stages,
Mhm.
and the reality of it is, the majority of authors when they sign with an agent don't immediately get a publishing deal.
Yeah,
You know, it's very, like I don't know what the stats are for it, but it's not a majority of people that then go on to get a publishing deal straight away. For some people, it's their second or third book that goes
hmm
out on sub. Anyway, so it'll be nice to hear from the, all the people involved in that panel who have obviously been through that.
yeah, 100%. And also the other one I think that's interesting is we're focused on different types of books because we've got writing IP books, but then you're doing a workshop on self-publishing
Yeah,
well, because Stuart has lots of experience in it. He's got a whole load of self-published books out in the world, and has managed to really successfully kind of manage that process on his own. And I think just knowing that there's different avenues to publishing, and it's not that kind of
yes,
traditional, you publish a book with a big publisher and then with the support of an agent and a publishing team. Like, I think it's really interesting that we've got a couple of different avenues to give people a bit more sort of optimism if the
yeah,
route they're on is not working or they're looking for a different
yeah.
way.
And it's funny because that IP panel that came out of a discussion we had at, our in-person conference that we had
Oh
back
yeah.
back at
Mm-hmm.
the start of the year. There was a discussion between the agents there about IP, and sort of, yeah, the panel was born out of us listening to that discussion and thinking it'd be interesting to have a whole panel just focused on that one thing, because
Yeah.
when I had an offer from an agent in 2022, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
2022. And one of the first things that she said in the offer was, blah, blah, I like this book that you've submitted to me, but also, would you be interested in doing IP work? And she was like, because I think you'd be good for that with, your science background and blah, 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 blah. So that's something that people should always keep in mind as well, is that there are lots of opportunities out there where it's not necessarily your idea or your initial thing, but you can go out and write books. And I know people have done that, like my friend Sally, who's just written
Yeah.
a book for Colin's Big Cat, I think it is
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
print. And like, and there's lots of others out there who have done that successfully as well. Where they've used an IP and they've gone on and written that. I'm just waiting for my IP offer to write a Doctor Who or Star Wars novel now.
If anyone's out there to give that offer to Stuart, he would be amazing. I mean, the Star Wars one, you're wearing the t-shirt literally, so
Yeah,
I think it'll be
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
and you don't even have to pay me very much.
just
Anyone that's listening, I'll basically do it for very little money.
as long as Stuart's name is underneath the word Doctor Who in
Exactly.
the cover, then it's absolutely fine.
It would absolutely be my pleasure to write that. But yes,
And that's what's really exciting. I think like that's what everyone should be looking forward to for WOWCON is this real
mm,
variety of things on offer. Really good core craft stuff like developing a writer's voice, the characters. But yeah, all this variety and different stage of publishing. We tried really hard and hopefully we've succeeded in sort of fulfilling as many sort of different like interests as possible. We got picture
yeah,
books as well.
yeah,
Why as writing for young people and adults, so yeah, even different age groups. So yeah, we've only got like in reality it's like 6 workshops, 9 panels or so, and then the talks, but I think we've managed to hopefully cover a lot of bases in this program,
yeah,
which is exciting. And I guess finally we were think about why writing conferences are important for writers, because obviously we run one and we do a lot of sort of we focus a lot on the practical and the making sure the price is good for everyone, making sure the programs vary, but ultimately we also have to think like why are they important, because that brings up quite a lot of questions in the planning and the reason why we're doing WOWCON and how we structure it. So I guess part of it, I suppose, for us is learning from all these different authors. And I guess that's why we pick the program that we do, and learning from industry professionals like editors, agents. It's sort of a whole, it's actually it is like a sort of sweet shop, isn't it? Where there's just so much to choose from. And I don't think as writers we get that often, maybe, where you have like a whole weekend of all this choice of things and all these people to learn from and all these topics. I guess for me, that's one reason why we run WOWCON, is just to give, like, immerse people
Yeah.
in writing for the
Yeah,
weekend.
exactly. And like, people like, we've heard this from and feedback from people all the time. People like it as well that it's just a weekend.
Yes.
Courses and stuff are fine, but often they range, from 6 to 8 to 12 weeks. And they're a bit less dynamic in that way. They're just sort of, and that's fine. But this is like, yeah, it's like everything you can possibly want packed into 2 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said earlier on, it's all recorded. So if you are not the kind of person that is like me, where you're obsessive and you do want to do everything all at once, if you want to spread it out, you can do that as well. So hopefully we've got both options open and available for everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you want to, take a break in the weekend, or a lot of feedback, positive feedback we get is people who have young families, and especially on the weekend, they might not have the time to
Yeah.
be sort of focusing on a conference the whole time. So they always thank us, like, oh, I was able to sort of, attend to my children or go out and have some good quality family time that weekend, while also being able to sit on my phone for a little bit and watch a conference, a conference content. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. I think we've got a lot of variety of topics and themes at a conference, like we said. Again, a course is great, but it usually focuses on one area.
Yeah.
Whereas again, I'm kind of the sort of person where I think in terms of my concentration, I prefer to sort of have an hour or two of a topic rather than necessarily hours and hours on the same topic and theme. That's just my way of, like, learning about things. So yeah, conferences are good. Networking, we were talking about that.
Yeah, so important. I think it's an opportunity not just to interact more with your peers, but we've had people that have come out of WowCon that have met new writing friends and so on, and that's important. I think that's the most important thing for a writer, is to have writing friends.
Yeah.
But similarly, you'll be able to interact with, professionals, with published authors. We had the one-to-ones that people could have booked, and they've got the agents and editors and so on, and the panels as well, and just getting that access to people that you wouldn't normally get access to
Yeah.
is a huge thing too.
Yeah, 100%. And and it's hard, you know, as a writer, writing can be lonely, but it doesn't need to be, is our right
Yeah, yeah,
mentor motto. And sometimes, there is a lot of ways to connect with writers now, thanks to social media, but it's having a huge number of people in one place can be tricky, especially with in-person conferences. That's a
yes,
lot to organize. They're not as common, not as frequent. Whereas with an online one, we can bring people together quite easily. And I think the other thing for me with WowCon is or a conference, is because there's such a sort of immersion in writing. It definitely gives people the motivation to keep writing, because our overall theme is sustain of this year,
yes,
and it's like, I think we want to encourage people to learn how to sustain their writing careers. And it's not just this, we discuss this a lot, like,
yeah,
a lot of people maybe have that kind of big debut and then it kind of fizzles out because they haven't maybe thought about, learned about the publishing industry and how
yeah,
that kind of works. Or I don't know, they want to try and get an agent, but they haven't put the kind of well-being things in place to kind of keep them going mentally.
yeah,
So yeah, I just think we really want people to have really long and successful careers as authors.
yeah.
um,
And for me, that is the most important thing. Is like, yeah, it's great if you get success. It's great if you sign with an agent, get a publishing deal. But ultimately, writing, for me anyways, it's a therapeutic thing, and
yeah,
it should feel like therapy. You should feel better when you do it. It shouldn't be something that brings you despair or makes you feel bad. And unfortunately, just the way publishing's set up, there's a tendency for that to happen with people, where dreams get built right up and then come crashing down when things don't go well. And for us anyway, everything we focus on with writers is about, we are not going to promise that we will help you get published, or that you'll
yeah,
get a big money deal or anything like that. That's not important for us. We want to put in place structures which allow you to be able to write for a long time, and hopefully for the rest of your life. And regardless of outcome, we want the processes that you have to be healthy and to be enrich your life, rather than to be something that can be something that brings you down. As I say, it should be a therapeutic thing. It should be something that's healthy for you.
Team Right Mentor is very pragmatic about the publishing industry.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Hopefully that's reflected, to be honest, in a positive way in everything we do, like in the hub and how we interact with writers on the hub. We definitely do not sell the sort of, we will get you published.
Yeah,
Publishing it is definitely about, and I think that creates more long-term
it does. Yeah, yeah.
success, and you will last longer in the industry, I think, if if you have all these sort of tools, this toolkit in place, and also this community to keep you going,
Yeah.
as well. So we
Yeah.
hope you enjoy all this at
Yeah.
WOWCON. Just some practical stuff before we finish. So it's Friday the 27th, Sunday the 29th of September. So it's very soon,
Yeah.
which is exciting. You can get a basic ticket for £25, which you'll be able to see on our website. We also have a full access ticket. So the £25 basic ticket, as we call it, gives you a keynote speech, which, would you like to say who we've got this year, Stuart? Because it is
Yeah,
exciting.
we've got the legend that's Michael Rosen, former children's laureate and all-round brilliant public speaker as well.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen him do a workshop or a keynote, or do something with kids absolutely adore him. He's very animated and very larger than life.
100%. Yeah, Michael Rosen, we are in awe that we've managed to get him as a keynote speaker. So we're really excited. So his talk will be included in the basic ticket, which
Yeah.
I personally think is really good value already. But then we also have 3 in conversation talks where we've paired up authors that write in the same age group, also amazing authors with loads of experience, and they will be talking about their publishing journey. And then basically it's build your own conference after that. So then we have different components of the workshop, so 2-hour live workshops, and the panels, and then you can just add those on to your at their own prices to the basic ticket. So yeah, you can go to as many or as little as possible.
Or you can buy the full ticket, which includes everything, all the workshops, all the panels, all the talks, and it's for a fraction of the price that it would be if you added all of them individually.
Exactly. So we've got
we,
2 options.
Yeah, because what I found was in the first couple of years where I did this, it was all build your own ticket. And what we found was that lots of people just bought everything. And what I'm like about money, the guilt in my heart at people like paying all that money to see everything. I thought, is there a way that we can add value for it, people who love everything? And so yeah, that full all-inclusive ticket gets you everything for a much reduced price.
Yep, and that discount is our way of thanking those very loyal Right Mentor supporters who do want to just see absolutely everything. They love WowCon. So yeah, hopefully that's good. And then everyone gets access as well to our interactive community on Slack where everyone's chatting all weekend. And also we've got a pitch contest and our Saturday night party. So you'll see me and Stuart at the Saturday night party, but we'll also be around the whole weekend. I'm moderating a talk and also my workshop on marketing and branding. Please join it. But yeah, you'll see all of us over, and Stuart's got the self-publishing workshop as well, so don't forget to book onto that. And yeah, so hopefully we'll all see you there. I hope you enjoyed our behind the scenes live stream, and we'll see you in a couple